But more recently, he's also involved in the all-parliamentary group for the definition of Islam for Muslims. And they've come up with the definition of Islamophobia. Other people are mentioned in terms of Islamophobia. Boris Johnson, clearly he's made some comments on Islamophobia. And I don't know if you saw that debate last week on BBC One, where there was a Muslim gentleman. And one of the first things as politicians you're told, if you get introduced, you remember the individual's name, and he forgot it. It was Abdullah, and he kept saying, my friend, he forgot his name. You know, it was so flipping obvious. So I'd like to introduce Afzal, and obviously he's going to talk about some of the work he's doing into making sure that that definition of Islamophobia is actually endorsed by the councils, not only here in Manchester, Greater Manchester, but right across the UK.
Thank you very much, Rabnawaz. It's great to be here along all colleagues and friends who I've been working with for many years, and many who are in the audience here as well. Let me start by, first of all, actually welcoming you to the British Muslim Heritage Centre. I am one of the founding members here. I was the General Secretary, and currently I'm a patron. And you know, it's an interesting history about this place itself, in the sense what it was before, how it was a trade union movement, before that it was a missionary college, and then this to be a British Muslim Heritage Centre. The building actually was bought precisely for the work that you're doing, so that this building could be turned around. So I feel proud that this meeting is being held here. So we're fulfilling the purpose of this building and the work that we want this project to be happening. So thank you for choosing to be here. The second thing I want to say is I feel proud of Manchester. I was at Manchester Parade. Tens of thousands of people were there. You saw Manchester at its best, the richness and the diversity that we have being celebrated. That, I think, is the key point, ultimately. When we are gathered here, we know the dangers, but we have to have alternative as well. And this is what was said by Bill as well, they're about the hope idea. So Manchester is an amazing place. We are proud of Manchester. And throughout in the history we've seen, whenever there's been a challenge, whenever there's been discrimination, wherever in the world, Manchester has been at the forefront. So great stuff. Let's all be proud of Manchester. The third thing I want to say is this. Rabnawaz was saying that I've been involved with a long time. I am a founding member of United Against Fascism. I've seen the amazing work that they've been doing. I have a colleague sitting, Julie Ward. I remember being involved with the campaign, and there are colleagues in this room who were actually involved in 2009 to stop Nick Griffin being elected to represent us in the European Parliament. My journey to the European Parliament is actually linked to Nick Griffin, because I was involved with United Against Fascism trying to stop him, and we failed. I was in the town hall when the result came through. All of us were gutted. And that's when I decided, right, we're going to take him out. We're going to make sure we defeat him next time. And I'm pleased in 2014, we managed to achieve that. I was in the town hall when we managed to get rid of him. In the campaign, and this is quite interesting, a leaflet went out from British National Party to every single house with a message that the big parties are going to get their people elected. The last seat is going to be between Nick Griffin, they're saying, and a Muslim Labour. That was the message which went to every single house. So I felt pretty proud on the night when he was defeated. I spoke to him actually and I said, you sent this message. And the people of the Northwest prefer a Muslim Labour over you. And he said, I'll be back. And I said, no, you won't. You're finished. And I think the party is finished. This year, again, we've seen what has happened. I think it's been, again, a good result. So there's an answer, what we need to do. We've got to take the fight to them. That's what needs to happen. I remember when BNP won 13 councillors in Burnley. I was asked then by the Labour Party, myself and Naim, who was employed by the GMB trade union, to go and help there. So we went to help in Burnley. And one of the things that I was struck by, I saw the leadership which existed in Burnley. And what struck me was, they were all male, they were all white, and they were all old. Seriously, I remember that picture and it struck me, and I thought, now I understand why we've got 13 BNP councillors in Burnley. So leadership is also important. Having good leadership, having diverse leadership sends a very powerful message. Otherwise, you end up with Donald Trump. You end up with Boris Johnson. We know what they're saying, how they're leading this whole message, how it encourages people then to be racist and to be with attitude that is acceptable to be racist. So the leadership, I think, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the key things. Otherwise, you will have leadership, the populist leadership, who will sow hate, division, fear, threat to people. The second thing I want to say is education. Again, I was involved with campaigning in Manchester, and I remember knocking at one door. And this woman opened the door. So as you do the campaigning and canvassing, so I asked her, I said, who would you voting for? And she said, UKIP. So I said, you mind if I ask you who you used to support before? And she said, Labour. So I said, listen, fair enough. It's your vote. You can decide who you want to cast it for. But can I just ask you one question? And she was fine. She said, yeah, go ahead. So I said, how did you manage to jump from Labour straight to UKIP? I don't understand this. Can you explain this to me? And he said, it's these immigrants. I wasn't sure whether she recognized I'm also an immigrant. So I said, but what about these immigrants? And she said, they come here, they get a new car, they get a new house, and wait for this, and they get £150 for Christmas. So I said, hold on, I'm a senior councillor, I was a councillor at the time. I said, I'm a senior councillor in Manchester. I know roughly what goes on, and I'm a solicitor by profession. So I understand some of the rights. I've heard some of these things before. I have never heard £150 for Christmas. Please tell me, where did you get this from? And she said, I know. So I said, please tell me where. And when I pushed her, she said, I heard it in the pub. So I said, have you ever thought, why would a British government give £150 to someone from another part of the world and doesn't want to give it to you? She said, but that's the bit I don't understand. So I said, could it be that it's not true? And actually penny dropped for her. She understood. That's why education is important. And to finish it off, I know time is ticking, and Naila is ticking me off already. It's about celebration, which I started with. We have to celebrate more and more. And that means using the public places for celebration. And that means me and you taking steps towards one another with a smile. And this is how we enrich ourselves. I'm part of the Muslim Jewish Forum as well. I became part of it. I've learned so much. And that's about taking steps toward one another. So, good leadership, good education, and celebrating richness and diversity. Thank you very much.